In case you haven't guessed, I'm very excited for this movie this past weekend, upcoming weekend. Whatever. I'm so I can't even talk right now. I'm so excited for this movie right now. Welcome to another exciting edition of Change the F Up, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nate the Effing Great, joined here as always by the Belle to my beast mode, VicTori Belle. How are you doing today?
I'm pumped. I'm just so excited to talk about all the things we're going to talk about today.
Oh, gosh, yeah. But
as you can see, as no one else can see, but you can see.
Yeah.
I'm pumped.
We were just talking about that before the show. I was just saying, you're showing me all these things, but nobody else is really going to see it. But basically what she has a portrait behind her of the Eiffel Tower with a couple, it looks like some trees that are red, but they look like the roses, and she's wearing a Belle t-shirt. She already showed off her ticket stubs. Yeah, she's very excited for this. Before we get into that, though, guys, I have to heavily promote the fact that Power Rangers is coming out this weekend. It's another reboot, but at the same time, this reboot looks awesome. I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to love it. There are going to be a few people that are probably going to hate it. Rotten Tomatoes already gave it a 44%, but this might be one of those movies where I'm just like, shut up, okay? It's Power Rangers. There's no way that they could probably make this anywhere. So, although I'm very interested in seeing how Elizabeth Banks does as Rita Repulsa, but I'll get more into that. Depending on how good it is, I might even talk about it on Sunday. Just have to wait and see. But we finally got a Facebook fan page, you guys. It is facebook.com/change the F up 1776. So go give us a like there, you guys. All the updates and everything we talk about on the show will be posted up on there, as well as links to other people that maybe we think deserve a little bit of a like, just because. So this episode, we are talking about Beauty and the Beast in its entirety. We're going to be talking a little bit about the older renditions compared to the Disney adaptations, and then we're going to get into the actual review of Beauty and the Beast that we both got a chance to saw, and basically started getting into a little bit of a conversation earlier this week, but I was told, Nate, stop, before we ruin everything, just stop. So, alright, let's just get right into it, and start off with talking about basically the old rendition versus the Disney adaptation, and geez Louise, I mean, we both kind of talked about this last week about how there's a lot of differences when it comes to the old rendition to how Disney kind of, I wouldn't say, tamed it down a little bit. It just is one of those movies that, it is a tale as old as time, but it's also just a really good movie. I mean, I myself was actually a part of it during senior year of high school. We actually did a rendition of the older version of Beauty and the Beast, and just amazed at how much of a difference it was from the Disney rendition, but also some of the similarities from there. I'll try and go through a quick, basic summary of what this plot line basically was. Basically, most of the characters are the same. There's a couple additional characters, Belle has additional sisters as well as brothers in this. The basic storyline of how Merchant, Beauty's father, is still basically the same, although instead of being taken prisoner just because he takes a rose, and then basically Beast says, one life for another. Belle takes his place. Slowly but surely, Belle starts, caring for the Beast, and not quite to the point of falling in love just yet. They're not going to spoil it just quite yet. But then she gets a chance to go and be with her family for about, I think for this play was maybe about a day or two, if I'm not mistaken. The version that I was a part of, it was actually the brothers that actually injured the Beast, and then Belle came back, expressed her love, spell was broken, happy ending. Kind of an interesting story to it. Like I said, interesting, kind of adding on some of the characters, like the fact that she has, sisters and brothers, but it actually flows pretty well. Was there anything that I was missing as far as the classic storyline goes, or did I basically hit the nail on the head?
I think that the only big differences with some of the older stories that I read is that, she had a bunch of sisters usually or something, and she was always the selfless one who whenever her papa, went off to do his sales and stuff, she would only ask for a rose, while everybody else would ask for, the best designer dresses, do this, and Belle would just want a rose. And so that's kind of was a main thing that is why, like, he gets captured is for a tiny little rose, versus he didn't steal anything else. He only wanted to bring back a gift for Belle in the older ones, just because Belle never asked for much. And that's the irony about it, is that he thought a flower was nothing compared to everything else that the house had, and he still got in trouble for it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how that seems like is always like a main point in basically like any of the movies, really. I mean, for the classic version, it's always something about a rose, or in the Disney adaptation, it's about the rose, is the reason why the beast is the beast, and before the last rose petal falls, then if he doesn't find true love, then he's a beast forever. Same with the, review that we'll get into. Basically the same thing, but they actually added a little bit of classic stuff to it, which I thought to myself, wow, they actually went down this road, and I love it. But I think another thing that actually was about the same was the relationship between Merchant, Beauty's father, Belle's father. Sorry, when I talk about Beauty and the Beast in the play version, her name was actually Beauty, but I think her real name was actually Rose, which somehow the sisters try to make it into an insult. Why, I have no idea. But yeah, it's just interesting hearing like all these different names, and if you are not familiar with the classic version, you're definitely going to be missing out on a lot of the songs and a lot of the memorable characters like Lumiere or Cogsworth or Mrs. Potts or Chip. They're not they're actually kind of replaced with just servants and like creatures around. And even the what was it? The classic version that I was telling you about that I watched, that was kind of a French dubbed version, was the same way. Was that they didn't have like any of the classic characters from the Disney adaptation, but they did have almost like these weird little creatures, which turned out to be, I guess, hunting dogs that got cursed by. Jeez Louise, I'm trying to remember. What was it? It wasn't an enchantress, from what I remember. It was just. I think he was hunting some kind of deer or something like that, shot it, and it was... I'm trying to remember who it was. It was, I guess, an enchantress, and I think it was her father that turned him into a beast. I don't know. It was definitely a lot different than the rendition that I remember, but it was still enjoyable for the most part. I don't know.
Yeah, I have seen that one too. That is the one I've seen. In the French, they call it La Belle et la Bête, and then I'm not French, so obviously I just destroyed that saying. However, it was supposed to be really beautifully said. But yeah, I remember the hunting dog creatures that like followed her around and stuff and tried to help her out. That version really reminded me kind of more of like an Alice in Wonderland-y type of feel, though, with the different like castle and the movement of stuff. It was really weird for me, but it was cool. I was still like, I mean, it came out in 2014, so it was before this live action, but it was really interesting, enjoyable. If you haven't seen it, I think it's worth the watch.
Definitely. Anytime you get a chance to watch something that's classical and something that's older than some of even the Disney classics, that's always something to actually take a look into and just see how much of a difference it makes. Just, how Disney tries to, I guess, tone down some of the things I like. I mean, like, we'll probably talk about this in a future episode, like when they talk about Little Mermaid, definitely the original version of Little Mermaid is so much more, darker and so much more, I guess I would say, twisted than the Little Mermaid that Disney eventually, produced and created. But yeah, all in all, Beauty and the Beast is just one of those really underappreciated stories that I think really does shine so much more nowadays, especially with the release of, the actual movie that came out. Let's not waste any time. Let's go right into the review of the movie because I'm very excited, and we've been talking about this for a week now. And yeah, I just remember she texted me, I think it was Friday nights, Thursday morning, something like that, and you just said, I went and I saw it. The first thing I said was, no spoilers, I'm going to go see it on Sunday. And then I went and I saw it, and honestly, it was so good that had I had any more, tears to shed in this movie, I would. But I don't even think that any of those bodily fluids could do it any justice because this was a very, very, very well done movie. Honestly, I will be surprised if this movie does not win an Oscar for. I don't know if I would say it might win it for like best visual effects, but I know that there's a lot of other movies that are going to probably stake that claim. But I think that Beauty and the Beast is definitely the standard bearer when it comes down to it. Am I just overreacting, or do I have some kind of point?
I could see it being in there for some original songs, since what I really loved about this, which is that they had so many new songs along with the classics that really I loved. I loved Evermore is like my new favorite that the Beast sings, and then another song that I really, really loved was the ending. Well, the dad, what's his name, sings it. How Can a Moment Last Forever, I think it's called. And then at the end they have, of course, the Queen, Celine Dion, singing it beautifully. How Does a Moment Last Forever? And I loved that they had Celine Dion end the whole movie by singing one of the classics, because that's kind of was a memento from the first 1991. Her and I forget who the male voice was, but she sung, Beauty and the Beast, and her voice is just gorgeous. But having her sing that ending theme song when like everybody popped up again to show their faces and do their little like intro, it was like the curtain call bow at the end of the movie. I was like clapping. I was like, this is beautiful. This is gorgeous. I have all these songs now on a playlist in my Spotify, and I have been listening to it. And honestly, listening to all the songs in order, it feels like you're watching the whole movie again, because they had so many songs that connected each moment. It was beautiful.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of at a loss for words. I just looked at some of the information that I get is from Wikipedia, and I know it's not exactly the most, reliable source, but I think when it comes down